I grown? I've learned a lot of patience. I matured a whole lot. That's it, honestly. I just be working, staying out the way.
I have grown personally internally and externally in where I've moved and taking care of myself and trying to do better for others. A lot of what I've been focusing on is trying to be kinder in general.
In the last year, I've become more mature. I can say that. When you say that, I've become more mature. I don't know, I've become more aware of like my space and then everybody that I encounter and stuff like that.
I have been going through quite the reorganization at work, and I've had to step out of a lot of ownership of things, and so I've grown by learning how to delegate and let go.
I definitely changed as far as like just being more open to new things, willing to experience new things.
Well, Thomas is 17 months, so he has grown literally a lot, and our family has grown, and we are just going through the stages of, you know, being a mom with a career, being a grandma with a career, and so we have had to grow and just try to be great at as much as we can be at once.
I've learned and acquired a lot of new skills. I've met a lot of really incredible people and really done a lot of self-reflection and working on how I treat myself and am vulnerable with those who I care about.
How would you say we've grown?
I've grown a lot. It's hard shifting lately and stuff.
We went from having a 2-bedroom apartment and never being on the street, and I did community advocacy for 8 years, to us being the story. With that being said, our growth has been very spiritual. We started a ministry this summer, and it's called Common Sense Faith Ministry, and it's about how to talk about spiritual warfare at the root of social injustice.
I don't know if I've really grown, but I've been destroyed by a lot of stuff, and, you know, sometimes they think that that lays the groundwork for something else.
In the heart of Philadelphia stands a neighborhood that represents more than just a collection of streets and buildings. Chinatown is a living, breathing testament to resilience, cultural preservation, and the immigrant experience in America.
Chinatown has been go through a lot. Beyond the Vine Street Express, in 1997, they was trying to build a federal prison here. And in 2000, they trying to build a baseball stadium in Chinatown. In 2006, they trying to build a casino in Chinatown. Those kind of big proposals will never be a pathway for prosperity for our city and our town. And during the time, in the political field, the mayor and city council all support it. And now it's arena again. The history Chinatown went through helping us to learn how to fight against the arena in this moment. When the people come together, when the people united, we will win. And just like 2000, just like 2006, even the mayor and city council supported, and we win that.
Play nice, but we know and they know that the
For decades, this vibrant community has faced numerous existential threats. Yet, each time, Chinatown hasn't just survived. It has emerged stronger.
Now, and we need to stop this now.
If they care about their youth, the children, the generations, and communities that have to live with these decisions, to keep the arena out of Chinatown!
But Chinatown is more than this. It's a cultural sanctuary where traditions are preserved and passed down through generations.
I talk to Asian American immigrants. They always see Chinatown as a culture center, a spirit center connected to them. We celebrate a lot in Chinatown. We start celebrate Mid-Autumn Festival every September since 1995.
One of my most vivid childhood memories is the Mid-Autumn Festival, and it was something that I looked forward to every single year. Ever since I was a little kid, I would love playing the carnival games and getting my face painted and watching the performances. All these little moments and traditions I grew up celebrating and doing.
When you have a chance to walk through the Autumn Festival, then you will see the real community. You will often see a grandpa or grandma, the older generation carry their grandchildren generation and walk around the festival, proudly introduce about their culture. That is a choreography. That is a paper cutting. It's very gorgeous when you see that across generation be able to put in the festival together.
For many Asian Americans, whether first-generation immigrants or students studying abroad, Chinatown represents an irreplaceable connection to their heritage.
I grew up going to Chinatown all the time. And any time that I was hanging out with my friends, I feel like the default place was we're going to Chinatown. And there's just restaurants and businesses that have been here for my entire life. And so many bubble tea shops and places that I grew up going and hanging out with my friends.
During college, there was a time that I went to college, didn't come to Chinatown for a while, and then came for Mid-Autumn Festival, and my heart just was so full, it almost was bursting. I feel like whenever I get off the 11th Street NFL stop and I walk from what used to be the gallery all the way to the Chinatown Bridge, I feel like it's almost like coming home, because I have so many memories, so many people that I care and love about, and those relationships were built off of memories together.
As a 1.5 generation Chinese American, as an immigrant, I feel like Chinatown is very significant for me, because this is the only place that you can feel the home again. Chinese immigrant students say we are homesick, and many Chinatown also feel homesick. If we can celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival together, that will bring them a lot of hope. Wherever how far they go, they always come back to Chinatown for celebration.
In preserving Chinatown, we are not just protecting buildings and business. We are safeguarding a crucial piece of cultural heritage, ensuring future generations will have a place to call home, to celebrate their identity, and to carry forward their traditions.
I feel like Chinatown is constantly moving forward. A lot of change has happened in the neighborhood since I was born, since it was founded 150 years ago.
I saw the hope of the young people will gather in Chinatown to discuss about what can we vision a better future in Philadelphia.
We're always changing and we're always moving forward, but we hold a lot of sentiment for the memories that we've had in the community.
Today, as Philadelphia's Chinatown faces new challenges, its story continues to be one of unity, resilience, and hope.
We carry from the older generation, and we have a duty to inspire the next generation. If our community being destroyed and not exist, how can we expect the younger generation to continue our culture? That's why we have to fight for future generation.
I am a public school teacher in Philadelphia. Go Dobbins. So I think that every day I go into work trying to make everything the best for my students, and that makes it somewhat easy to carry over to being a mom. All my mindset is just growth every day, making it a little bit better, easier, getting closer to our goals, so on and so forth.
A community is responsible for its growth in that they're supposed to work together. You have to learn how to work with others. I know it's not easy because we come from different walks of life and everybody has their own opinion, right? But you have to learn how to engage with others and understand others. As a community, fight for your rights.
How you interact with another person could change how that person's day goes. So I guess it starts from myself, how I carry myself throughout the day and just try to be a better person towards the people around me.
I think I can deepen my connection with my relationship to the world at large.
I am a marketing director at Welch Maloney. We are a certified public accounting firm, and part of my responsibility is college recruitment. And in the accounting industry, industry, there is a shortage of accountants coming on, and I find it's very important when I go out to the college career fairs. A lot of students don't understand public accounting, what the roles are, and they really don't have the guidance or insight as to what it's involved with. So I do a lot of mentoring and a lot of teaching and a lot of training sessions with students throughout Philadelphia.
I was thinking about this today. I actually am not terribly disciplined, and I've been going through a lot of like knee therapy, and so I think changing the way I discipline myself to be better about my physicality.
I feel like you could be a big influence on somebody else, especially your peers, people around your age, just being more positive.
I have the ability to be kinder to others and help where I can, be more cognizant of how my actions affect other people and the community as a whole.
I can make decisions that better my health and better my treatment of myself and by default those around me. I also do as much as I can do to mitigate as much unnecessary suffering as possible.
The Ginger Arts Center is a community youth and art center in Chinatown North.
We are a third space for youth around Philadelphia. We do frequent free programming, mostly targeted towards high schoolers, but we've had people of all ages come. We have open hours 6 days a week for kids to come in and just use our space. We have a library, we have some couches, we always have free snacks. We just really wanted to create a space where youth feel safe and comfortable because those spaces are really lacking in Philadelphia.
We founded this center after founding SPOC, Students for the Preservation of Chinatown. In our time in SPOC, organizing students on college campuses, we kind of had this turning point of reflecting on what was SPOC's actual purpose.
For our first 2 years of organizing, we were really on the front lines. We were like the first public protest against the arena. We did a lot of teach-ins, educating people about what was happening. And then organizing kind of changed into like more like lobbying city council rather than spreading awareness. And we thought, well, like it's really important to fight off the things that you don't want in your neighborhood, but it's also equally as important to fight for the things that you do want in your neighborhood.
And we wanted to devote a lot of the resources into the Chinatown community, the community that raised us, the community that invested in us.
In particular, we're working really closely with SASA, Students Against Sixers Arena, which is a high school coalition. You know, a lot of these students have helped us build the center, are part of our core staff, and it's really great to see them be a part of it and like feel ownership and pride to have a space for them to like not only hang out but also just have like a stable place to like do organizing meetings and host events and things like that.
And so we applied to a very fancy grant
from the Leeway Foundation and fortunately got it.
And we're able to open this center.
When we were thinking about like what to name our center, we really wanted to like pay homage to the Yellow Seeds, which is a youth group that existed in Chinatown in the 70s and did a lot of really important organizing work around the Vine Street Expressway.
And they really brought service and advocacy together, devoting time, energy, resources into the community and opening a open center like the Ginger Arts Center.
And so we were like, oh, like what's a plant that's yellow? And then we were like ginger, and like
the fact of like the ginger root is a root system. We come from many different walks of life into this center, and it's also a system, so we're
reliant and connected to community. We were like, oh, like that's perfect because ginger is something that's used in a lot of Asian cooking, but is also like super medicinal, spicy.
And so definitely the history of the Yellow Seeds influenced our founding. I would also say all of our personal experiences, my experience, just because my mom was one of many, many activists in the stadium and casino fights.
My parents are also longtime Chinatown organizers. My mom in particular, she fought against the stadium in 2000 and the casino in 2008, and I kind of grew up watching her, and I grew up going to FACS, Folk Arts Cultural Treasures Charter School, which is located in Chinatown.
I went to school along with Kaya at the Folk Arts Cultural Treasures Charter School, which my mom is also a founder of, and so
even though I never lived in Chinatown, I still consider it my home. A lot of the people that organized with my mom like played a part in raising me.
A lot of like the people in this community were the ones who raised me, who took care of me after school, before school.
Chinatown has kind of just been a constant in my whole life.
I feel like Chinatown is constantly moving forward. We've been talking a lot about in the Ginger Arts Center and overall in the Save Chinatown movement, how we transform community movements into political power. This community has known what it's like when you can have thousands of people come out into the street and yet no politician listen to you. And so, not to shout out my own mom, But I'm so proud of her because she became the city's first Asian American woman on city council and led fights that included the Asian American communities and to actually give a voice to them in city council and in city government. I think our fight today with the arena is trying to make sure that our city council member officials that we voted into office are still listening to us.
I think like the building of Ginger Arts Center really follows this long tradition in Chinatown of like community-led development, proof that like we don't need like billionaire for-profit developments. The community knows like what it needs, and like we've really been able to like build that for ourselves. And so I think Philly's Chinatown, we have such a long history of resistance, which started with the fight against the Vine Street Expressway. And like even though the Vine Street Expressway was built, the community was able to really fight to shift the placement. If like the past of Chinatown has told me anything, it's given like me hope, I guess, for this like current ongoing fight that we're going through.
I think that we have to think about what we have in terms of shared goals and also acknowledge the differences that we all have. And so if I'm working toward your goals and you're working toward my goals, I think that we make a better future.
Figure out what you need versus what you want. Do I need water? Yes. Do I want a latte? Yes. What the hell is more important? I need water.
I just really feel like it starts with our kids. So like, if you're teaching your kids the proper things to do at home, they're going to carry that with them on the outside world. Like, if you're teaching your kids to be reckless at home, they're going to come outside and they're going to be reckless.
Get to know God is what we suggest, but you do have free will to look and to get to know other light beings because you're invaluable. And you deserve to have happiness and everything you need in society to live a happy life and a healthy life with you and your family, whether you live alone, no matter who you're married to, not married to. You deserve to have the right to live and be happy.
If we pave the way for how we want things to be, then I think if they have a rubric to follow, like a key, a guide to follow, then it should be good.
Taking societal issues seriously is a big step. Acknowledging the environmental issues, the lack of environmental sustainability, and making sure people who have less can survive, and not only survive but thrive.
Just putting people in positions to do better, and I feel like everybody should follow some type of rules and everything. Like everybody should just do the right thing.
Sustainability is something that, as a parent, I think there's a lot of give and take. Choosing to use disposable diapers versus, reusable diapers is a moral decision. Obviously, we want to help the environment and sustainability of all of those types of things, but realistically, it can be tough sometimes. So we're all doing our best.
I think also an important part is recognizing that we are already on the path of no return. And what would you place a value on protecting if you knew there was a timestamp on your life and on the lives of everybody that was important to you? And what would you do at that time?
There once was a girl stuck in a routine. She was obsessed with the world's unraveling. She saw the world with no help or care. The same Mother Nature who brought her air was falling apart with no end in sight. It weighed upon her heart with a heavysome might. With her imagination wild and nightmares convincing, she lives in the ruin the future is sure to bring. There's no point to this. It's all going to waste. But wisdom had her believe a brighter future may await. For if you believe the world is going to end, appreciate it now and make the present your friend. Learn from these transformations and mend your spirit. Grow free from this cage. You put yourself in it. Remain a good influence. Don't forget the goal. But there will always be beauty as far as the eye can see.
Community is everything when it comes to growth, because from the perspective of education, we only have so much weight in especially a teenager's, life and what they really care to change or believe even. So community is everything, and integrating yourself into the community as an educator is really important.
Libraries are an essential part of what binds our communities together. And so I think that really relates to what I do in terms of connecting people with information and connecting people with each other to share what we do together to make our community work.
If more people are willing to help more and do things like that, that definitely can be a big change, and that definitely helps with growth. Yeah, I feel like that's a big part in the growth.
Spiritual growth.
That's the best way?
That's the best way to do it.
And it's best to spiritually grow and get to know yourself. So with that being said, we suggest people talk to the light, get to know God. That's what we got to know. That's what we suggest, but you're open to have free will.
Community is extremely important no matter what type of community that you are in, from a business perspective or from a local perspective. And if you don't have the support of others, you really can't grow and achieve what you need.
If we all work together as a collective to make sure that we're a good city and that we uphold a good rapport with each other, I think that the space itself will be positive.
Community programs, such as food drives, the little library books, especially the banned book libraries, I really like those. I think that definitely helps the community grow. What it gives back to people who can't do as much as others, what it gives back to them, I think is a good way for that to grow.
I feel like we've all been taught the bar of being successful or okay is feeling happy, joy, when that's a temporary state. We need to redefine within us and honestly across the world what the goal is. The goal is to be okay. Once we're all okay, then we can all experience the temporary joys.
Hello and welcome to Time to Talk, a talk show with a time machine. Using highly advanced technology, we are able to teleport in any historic figure we wish to speak with to get direct answers to the questions that textbooks can't answer. Today, we will be using our time machine to go all the way back to the early 20th century to bring back the founder of Temple University, Russell H. Conwell, to speak with him about some biographical discrepancies stemming from his stint in the Civil War. Born in Worthington, Massachusetts, Russell Herman Conwell joined the Civil War at the age of 19 when he was elected captain of the Massachusetts Volunteer Militia. After this, Conwell would re-enlist as captain of Company D, 2nd Regiment, Massachusetts Heavy Artillery. On February 2, 1864, there was an ambush by Confederate forces at the Union-controlled Newport, North Carolina barracks, which was unable to properly defend itself due to the absence of Captain Russell H. Conwell. After being apprehended at a bookstore in New Bern, North Carolina, Russell was found guilty by a court-martial for being away without permission. From here, many of Conwell's claims would lack the evidence we would expect to see as historical researchers. Whenever Conwell was questioned about his dishonorable discharge, it seemed that he would come up with tales to tell instead of owning his shame. Thanks to his ability to hide from the truth, however, Conwell was still able to find himself success as a Baptist minister at the Grace Baptist Church in Philadelphia. Oh. There it is. Please welcome Russell Conwell.
Hello. This is a fantastic facility. How come I've never seen this part of the college before?
Well, we're actually not at Temple University. We teleported you through time using our patented time machine. My name is Miranda Wrights, and welcome to Time to Talk. We brought you here to discuss some of your contributions and how your legacy is currently being seen by many, especially within the Temple University community.
My beloved Temple University. How is she doing?
Well, thanks to the hard work of many individuals within the university, it is actually among the top 100 universities in America.
That's marvelous. I'm glad to see the university is in the hands of such a capable bunch.
Well, we didn't actually bring you here to discuss the state of the university. We were hoping to discuss some of your personal claims to fame.
Well, I do love talking about myself.
Glad to hear that you're willing to share. First off, multiple researchers over the last 50 years have stumbled upon an issue regarding your historical evidence, considering the tale of Johnny Ring and the captain's sword.
Yes, poor Johnny. He was just a boy when he became my personal orderly, you know.
Well, that's one of the things that we were hoping to shed some light on. Official military records show that John Ring enlisted as a private at the age of 20.
Excuse me? Are you calling me a liar?
Well,
I think I know the truth. I was there.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, most biographical works on you describe different tales of what happened during your time in the Civil War. We were just hoping that you could respond to some of the evidence found in Temple University's library and online.
What is online?
Oh, it's a database where you can search for most information, especially government records, in a matter of seconds.
In a matter of seconds, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, crud.
Well, could you explain the events that led up to the morning of February 2nd, 1864?
The night before February 2nd, I was making my way back from Kennedy Mills, heading to Newport, North Carolina, when I saw men sneaking through the bushes. After calling out to them, one of them shot at me, and if it wasn't for a pocket watch I had on me, I would have been dead. And that pocket watch deflected the shot, and then Excuse me, I thought you wanted me to share the story.
I mean, you know, that's 1 in a million shot, so it's just, we were hoping to get some clarity.
Well, after making my way back to camp, I reported the incident to the commanding officer, who sent me out the next morning with some other soldiers to find the Confederates that had shot at me the night prior. After a diligent search, I headed to New Bern to collect my pay due to my men. During that time, the Newport barracks were ambushed, which is when Johnny Ring raced across the flaming bridge. And to save my prized captain's sword, once I heard how badly he was burned, I headed straight to him and spent the night with him at his bedside as he succumbed to his condition.
That's a shame. I mean, there's just one issue we were hoping to understand better. Official military records show that John Ring died in March of 1864, and he died from tuberculosis. During that time, it seems that you were being held awaiting court-martial.
Excuse me, are you calling me a liar?
Not exactly, but in the book, Newport, North Carolina, during the Civil War, there is a transcription of your entire court-martial that clearly states your military career effectively ended on February 2nd, 1864, when you were charged with shamefully abandoning your post in the face of the enemy.
Yes, but that was overturned by President Lincoln himself, allowing me to fight alongside General McPherson, where I would be promoted to Lieutenant Colonel. This would lead me to the Battle of the Kennesaw Mountains, when I would end up severely wounded, and I would make a deal with God, allowing me to live a life for myself and a life for Johnny Ring.
Yeah, that isn't what the evidence says.
Really?
It seems like your dishonorable discharge was never overturned. Only your disability from service was removed by the governor of Massachusetts, and that was 5 years after you were discharged. With that, it really doesn't seem like there's any evidence of any kind that can prove your claims of being promoted and being wounded in service.
I can't entertain these claims. Where are you getting this evidence?
Primarily government records.
Is this what my beloved Temple University thinks of me? As some fabricator of myths?
To be honest, no one really thinks of you that much. Most people don't even know that you're buried on campus.
I'm buried on campus?
Yeah, but again, that's not what we brought you here to discuss. Why did you feel the need to create these lies? As a man of God, couldn't you see the power of repenting?
It was a hard time. I was only 21 when it happened. I saw the possibility of an abundant life wither away before me. There was no way I could commit to the truth after I convinced the editor friend of a newspaper back home to announce a promotion instead of my discharge. Any attempt to confront the truth at that point would expose my effort to hide it. When my truth was questioned, I just diverted the question and the conversation by pointing at a plausible explanation that I thought couldn't be proved.
Speaking of which, you do know Senates are supposed to prove all promotions, right? You had to know that the lie would be revealed at some point.
I wasn't coming up with solutions for my future. I was coming up with solutions for my past. I didn't think it would ever be this easy to access such information.
Well, if it does make you feel any better, the most comprehensive biographical memoir of your life was written by a former Temple University professor of journalism named Joseph Carter.
Well, at least the caliber of professor seems to be of great quality for my Temple.
I mean, yes, but little to no attention was paid to his effort, unfortunately.
So are you telling me no one knows about this?
Very few are starting to understand.
Well, with that, is it okay if we keep this off the record? I mean, just until I'm ready to ask for forgiveness?
I can tell you now that I personally forgive you, but as for the live audience at home, they'll have to make up their own minds.
Live? As in broadcast?
Well, that's it for today's episode of Time to Talk. Join us next time when we teleport Kelpius, Philadelphia's first mystical guru, to ask exactly what those hermits were doing in the Wissahickon. Thank you for watching.